What if I told you that the very first thing millions of people do every morning is quietly, silently, pushing their blood sugar into dangerous territory, and they have absolutely no idea it is happening? Not because they are eating something obviously unhealthy, not because they skip their medication, but because of one small, deeply ordinary habit. Something so normal, so routine, that it never crosses the mind as something to question. I am Dr. Ronald, and I want to talk to you about this today because what I am going to share with you in the next few minutes could genuinely change how you feel for the rest of the day, and over time, for the rest of your life. And before we go any further, if you want to stay strong, independent, and in control of your health as you get older, go ahead and type yes in the comments right now. Just that one word. It tells me you are serious about this, and it truly helps this information reach other people who need it just as much as you do. And if you have not subscribed yet, please do. There is so much more coming your way. Now let me ask you something. Think about your morning. What is the very first thing you do after getting out of bed? For most people, it is one of three things. They make tea, they make coffee, or they head straight for breakfast. And for a large number of older adults, that breakfast looks something like toast, or a bowl of cereal, or maybe a biscuit or two with that hot drink. Perfectly normal, right? Completely harmless. Except it is not. And here is where things start to get really important. When you wake up in the morning, your body has been fasting for 7, 8, sometimes 9 or 10 hours. Your stomach is completely empty. Your blood sugar is at its lowest point of the entire day. And your body, at that moment, is in a very particular state. A state where whatever you put into it first gets absorbed with almost frightening speed. Think about it this way. Imagine your bloodstream as a quiet river early in the morning, calm, slow, low. Now imagine throwing a large handful of sugar directly into that calm water. What happens? It spreads immediately. It saturates everything. There is nothing there to slow it down. That is almost exactly what happens inside your body when the first thing you consume in the morning is high in refined carbohydrates or sugar, whether that is white bread, processed cereal, sweetened drinks, or even that cup of tea or coffee on an empty stomach. And I want to come back to that last one in just a moment, because it surprises almost everyone. Now here is something that I think is worth pausing on. Many people who are living with type 2 diabetes, or who are in the early stages of insulin resistance, have glucose spikes every single morning and have no idea they are happening. They feel fine, they go about their day, but inside, something is quietly building. You see, blood sugar spikes are not just about how you feel in the moment. Each spike triggers a release of insulin, your body's response to bring that sugar back down. Over time, if this happens again and again and again, the cells in your body start to become less and less responsive to insulin's signal. The medical word for this is insulin resistance. And insulin resistance is not just a diabetes problem. It is connected to fatigue, weight gain around the belly, increased inflammation, cardiovascular risk, and even cognitive decline. It touches almost every system in the body. I want to tell you about a woman named Margaret. She was 68 years old, lived alone, and prided herself on being healthy. She exercised 3 times a week, did not eat fast food, and thought her mornings were perfectly fine. Every day she would wake up, make herself a strong cup of tea, and eat 2 slices of toast with a little jam while she watched the morning news. Simple, honest, nothing extravagant. But Margaret had been feeling tired in the afternoons for years. She assumed it was just age. Her doctor had told her her blood sugar was on the high side, but not technically diabetic yet. She was not given much guidance beyond watching what she ate, so she kept doing what she had always done. It was not until a dietitian sat down with her and walked through her exact morning routine that she realized what was happening. The tea on an empty stomach, the white toast, the jam, all of it, one after another, hitting a bloodstream with nothing in it to buffer the impact. Her body was spiking hard every single morning before the day had even begun. Once she understood what was actually happening inside her body, everything started to make sense. And once she changed just that one part of her routine, her energy in the afternoons began to come back. Now let me explain why the tea or coffee piece matters so much. Because this is the one that shocks most people. When you drink caffeine on an empty stomach, it triggers the release of cortisol. Cortisol is your stress hormone, but it also plays a significant role in blood sugar regulation. A surge of cortisol in the morning tells your liver to release stored glucose into the bloodstream, a process called gluconeogenesis. So even before you eat a single bite of food, your blood sugar can already be rising because of that morning drink. And if that drink has any sugar in it, even just one spoon, or if it is followed within minutes by high-carb food, you now have two separate forces pushing glucose upward at the same time. The caffeine effect and the dietary glucose. Together, in an empty body, the result can be a spike that is far sharper than it would be at any other point in the day. This matters more as we get older, because the body's ability to regulate these spikes becomes gradually less efficient. The pancreas may not respond as quickly. The muscles, which normally act as a kind of storage tank for excess glucose, may have lost some of their ability to absorb it rapidly. The whole system becomes slightly slower, slightly less forgiving. And so a spike that your body might have handled more smoothly at 45 can have a much bigger impact at 65 or 70. Let me tell you about another man I want you to know. His name was George. 72 years old, retired, and someone who had always been physically active. He was not overweight. He was not on diabetes medication. But he had been told his fasting glucose was climbing. He was confused. He asked me, "How is this possible? I do not eat much sugar. I do not drink soda. I walk every day." And when I asked him to walk me through his morning in detail, he told me, "I wake up, have 2 cups of coffee, then about an hour later I have cornflakes with low-fat milk and a banana." He genuinely believed this was a good, healthy start to the day. Low-fat, fruit included, whole grain on the label. What could be wrong with that? What George did not realize was that cornflakes are one of the highest glycemic index foods available. The low-fat milk removes the fat that would otherwise slow sugar absorption. The banana, especially a ripe one, is concentrated in natural sugars that absorb quickly. And the 2 coffees before eating had already primed his system for a glucose surge. His well-intentioned healthy breakfast was in reality one of the worst combinations possible for blood sugar management. Once we talked through why this was happening and what a better morning might look like, George was almost relieved. It was not some deep, mysterious health problem. It was something fixable, something in his control. And that is exactly the message I want you to hold on to today. This is not about fear. This is not about being told you have been doing everything wrong. It is about understanding what your body actually needs in the morning and making small, practical shifts that add up to something very meaningful over time. So what does a better morning look like? Let me take you through a few things that research consistently supports for blood sugar stability. The first is this: do not eat or drink high-carb food on a completely empty stomach without something to buffer it. If you love your morning tea or coffee, that is absolutely fine. But consider eating something small with protein or healthy fat before or alongside it rather than after it. Even a small handful of nuts, a boiled egg, or a piece of full-fat cheese can significantly slow down how quickly glucose enters the bloodstream. The presence of fat and protein essentially acts like a gentle brake on sugar absorption. The second is breakfast composition. Research consistently shows that starting the morning with a good source of protein leads to more stable blood sugar throughout the entire day. Eggs are a wonderful option. Greek yogurt without added sugar. A small amount of cheese. Even leftover chicken or fish if you are someone who does not mind a savory breakfast. These are not complicated or expensive foods. They are simple, real, and deeply effective. The third is something that may surprise you. A short walk after eating, even just 10 to 15 minutes, can meaningfully reduce the post-meal glucose spike. The muscles, when they are moving, begin absorbing glucose directly. They act like a sponge. And the effect is significant enough that researchers have found a gentle post-breakfast walk to be one of the most powerful tools for blood sugar control available to older adults. It costs nothing. It requires no equipment. And it has benefits that go far beyond just glucose. It supports circulation, mood, balance, and joint health all at the same time. The fourth thing worth understanding is the role of fiber in the morning meal. Fiber physically slows down the movement of food through the digestive system and creates a buffer around the sugars in your meal, releasing them gradually rather than all at once. Foods like oats, not the instant kind, but the rolled or steel-cut variety, vegetables, seeds, and legumes are all excellent sources. Adding even a tablespoon of ground flaxseed to your morning meal, for example, can have a measurable impact on how your body handles the glucose from that meal. I want to pause here and ask you something directly. When you think about your own morning routine right now, does any part of it feel familiar from what I have described? The coffee first, then something quick and carb-heavy? The bowl of cereal that feels healthy because it says so on the box? The piece of toast because it is fast and easy? If any of that resonates with you, please know that you are not alone. And please know that this is one of the most correctable things in your entire health picture. The morning is powerful precisely because it sets the metabolic tone for the rest of the day. Get it right, and your energy is steadier, your hunger is more controlled, your mood is more balanced, and your long-term risk goes down in ways that matter enormously. I think about an older patient of mine, I will call her Sylvia, though that is not her real name, who came to me feeling defeated. She was in her early 70s, her blood sugar had been creeping upward for years, and her doctor had recently started talking about medication. She sat in my office and said, "I just feel like my body is failing me, like I am losing the battle." And I told her what I am telling you now. Your body is not failing you. It is responding to the signals it is being given. Change the signals, and the response begins to change too. It is not an overnight miracle, but it is real, it is gradual, and it is absolutely within reach. Sylvia made changes to her morning, small ones. Protein first, less refined carbohydrate, a short walk after eating, a glass of water before her coffee. 6 months later, her fasting glucose had come down noticeably. Not because of medication, because of mornings. Now, one more thing I want to mention before we close, and this is something that rarely gets talked about. The order in which you eat your food during a meal actually matters for blood sugar. Studies have shown that eating vegetables and protein first and leaving the carbohydrate-containing foods until last can reduce the glucose spike from that meal by a significant percentage. Some studies suggest by as much as 30 to 40%. So if your breakfast includes both eggs and toast, eat the eggs first. If it includes fruit and yogurt, eat the yogurt first. The sequence changes the metabolic outcome. It is a small thing. It takes no extra time, and it works. If this video has helped you see your mornings differently, I want to ask you to do something kind right now. Share this with someone you care about, a spouse, a sibling, a friend who might be struggling with their blood sugar and does not know where to start. You might be giving them something genuinely life-changing just by sharing one video. And leave me a comment. Tell me what your morning currently looks like, or tell me what change you are going to make starting tomorrow. I read those comments. They matter to me. And knowing that this information is reaching the people who need it most is exactly why I do this. You are not too old for this. Your body still responds. It still adapts. It still changes when you give it the right support. That is not wishful thinking. That is biology. And the morning is the best place to start. In our next video, I am going to talk about something that happens inside your body in the late afternoon and evening that can undo all the good work you do in the morning, even if you do everything right. You will not want to miss it. Take care of yourself. Start tomorrow differently. And remember, every good day begins with a good morning. The information shared in this video is based on trusted medical knowledge and current research. Sources include the World Health Organization, National Institutes of Health, Mayo Clinic, Harvard Medical School, Cleveland Clinic.